Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So happy to see y'all. Today's video, we're talking about this guy. This is the fx3. This is my first cinema camera. This is what the creator was shot on. This is what everybody was going hype for. And we're gonna see if it's time to let it go. So I've owned my fx3 now for about 10 months, and honestly, this camera it's legit. There's not a ton to say. It's a phenomenal camera from Sony. Has really good autofocus, has really good third-party lens support. Like, this thing just has so much to offer from a camera standpoint. But now that I have a C70 and I've been using Canon for a little bit and I've been recording with Canon, there's some things that I've noticed that I like more about the fx3, and there's some things I've noticed I like more about the C70. Now, when I bought the C70, I bought it with the intention of keeping one of these cameras, either my C70 or the fx3. I don't have a need for both. They both kind of fill the same gap, although the fx3, I would say, does outperform the C70 in most low light situations, just because of that second native ISO. But honestly, with a couple lighting tubes or a couple small lighting fixtures that you can now fit in your bag, like these Zhiyun M20Cs that I'm using off to the side and to light above me, you can really make the C70 work. Like, it's not that big of a deal. The first thing I want to really get into about the fx3 that I love over the C70 is the form factor. Right, this camera is tiny. I'm going to pop the lens off. I know I'm going to drive a lot of you guys a little bit crazy with this, but look at this. This dude is so small. Like, one hand can almost hide the entire camera. And it's just crazy. The sensor's good. The size of this camera, just crazy, right? So first thing I love about the fx3 is the size. If you're somebody who's always on the go, you need the portability, the fx3 is absolutely amazing. It's great for those tight shots of pushing in, pushing out. When it comes to social media content, I really enjoy holding the camera like this. I have a cage down here and I just kind of grip the cage, and those vertical shots I can get fairly easy, just using the camera in this orientation. There's a record button here, so when I want to record, I can press this instead of having to reach over and press the button that is here. I can press that button that's right here. So vertical content, I love the Sony. I love the size of the Sony. I made the decision when purchasing this camera to go with the Tamron 35 to 150 mil lens. It's a f2 to 2.8, so from 35 to like 39 it's f2, and then it incrementally works its way up from f2 to 2.8, but at the worst you're at a f2.8 if you wanted from 35 to 150. So this lens really does cover a lot, but it kind of doesn't fit the fx3. I find myself, when using this combination, it's a little big, it's a little bulky, and it's honestly just a lot to carry in a day. So that being said, I love the portability of the fx3. I love the third-party lens support. If you choose to go with a lens like a 35 to 150, you instantly nullify that portability. It's just still slightly smaller package than the C70, just in all honesty, but now the handling goes down. The way you use it has to change a little bit. So from that aspect, it's just my fault because I bought the lens, but that is one of the drawbacks of getting something like that lens. Now, do I love the lens? Yes. Is it sharp? Yes. Does it do almost everything well? Yes. But it does kind of hurt the functionality of the fx3 from its size. So one of the things I really like about the fx3 is it has full-size XLR. And the reason I do this is because there's an asterisk next to that. This is the Sony fx3 handle. This is the way that you get full-size XLR ports on your fx3. And this is both a good and bad design. Now I have the, let's see if I can get this in focus. This is the small rig extender / adapter for this fx3 handle. And it just kind of gives you an extra inch there on the back. I only wish we could all just attach something like that. Gives you that extra inch on your handle so you can get that more comfortable and secure grip. If you can see while I'm holding this, from the bottom you can see I have a little bit of extra room because my finger's tucked around this cutout, almost trigger-esque cutout that they put there for you. But if you wanted to hold the camera because it was, you know, a little too front heavy, or you just wanted to hold the camera a little bit more towards the back, getting all 4 fingers on there was actually impossible. As you can see while I'm holding it now, there's almost no excess sticking out here, and it, you know, even this is a little bit small for my liking, but it massively helps. Now, the reason I say full-size XLR quotations / asterisk is because without this adapter on, you do not have full-size XLR, which means no matter what you're doing, if you need audio and you need XLR audio, your camera is going to look like this the entire time. Now, no, that's not that big of a deal. I'm gonna run a top handle on my camera anyway. Well, here's the thing. Now, if you wanna add a monitor, you're gonna have to add a monitor up here, and all of a sudden, the vertical profile of your camera has just doubled, tripled, maybe even quadrupled. And you now have a monitor sitting up here, you have the XLR handle, and you have the Sony, and it just starts to become a lot. Something I really like about the C70, although I still find it a tad bit annoying, is the audio is all on the body of the camera. Now, asterisk there as well, the C70 uses mini XLR, so I have to have an adapter from mini XLR to XLR, or do something like I'm doing right now, which is running my Sennheiser MKE 600. It's my favorite sub $400 boom microphone, shotgun microphone. It's absolutely wonderful, great sound profile, love it. It comes with an XLR to 1/8 inch adapter. Now, these adapters are okay, but they can be finicky sometimes, and they're not really great for if you're moving your camera. I find the connection can be a little weak sometimes and can cause static in your audio. And truth be told, the best way to use this mic is XLR to XLR. I can do that with the C70 on the body itself, but I do need the mini XLR to XLR adapter. And honestly, I'd rather live with that than only being able to get XLR audio out of the top handle. Now, absolutely, we talked about it already, where the Sony prevails over the C70 is low light. Doesn't matter what anybody says. Yes, you can pull the shadows like crazy on the C70, and you honestly can expose a little more to the middle on the C70 to get a better picture. But the FX3, although you expose to the right, still just dominates the low light. 12,800 ISO, you really can't beat it. A little bit of noise reduction in post, and the image looks absolutely phenomenal. Such a good image. But I'm gonna say something that sounds crazy. You know, there's a lot of people who talk about this. I prefer the color science out of the Canon. Not for what you think. I don't use their normal profile. I don't use anything straight out of camera. I edit all my colors. So it's not a, ooh, Canon color science is better. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about color fall off and gradient in the actual camera. So the roll off of the highlights, the way that colors transition from one color to another, if there's multiple colors in a scene, that looks better on this camera. It might have something to do with the DGO sensor that's inside the C70, giving you that close to 16 stops of dynamic range while you're filming, versus I believe the FX3 is somewhere at the 14.5 stops dynamic range. I might be wrong on that. Check it out. I believe it's 14.5 stops on the FX3, but the Canon just seems to have better highlight roll off, better color retention, and it just seems to have smoother gradients between different colors and that light roll off. So I really prefer that look of the C70. Now, the one other area that I think the FX3 is better than the C70 is autofocus. I don't use autofocus a ton. I use it on shots like this to track my face or to track objects, as you saw earlier. Those shots may or may not make it into the video, but I was holding my camera up and I think it was still locked onto where my face was, even through the camera. So Canon's gotten a lot better, but I think Sony's recognition and autofocus system is just a little bit better. But I don't mind that. I just need a good autofocus system. I don't need the best of the best. I love using manual focus, and I prefer that for the majority of what I do. So overall, I think at this point, I've made a decision to sell the FX6, keep the C70, and for right now, the camera that I'm going to get to do my social work on and my social media stuff, because the C70 is a bit big for that purpose, is I'm going to be picking up an EOS R8. They're on sale right now. They shoot C-Log 3. It's not as good dynamic range as C-Log 2. I don't care. It still looks great. I grew up on the A7 III and an A6000 initially, so honestly, as long as it has 10-bit color, I could care less about anything else. And I'm going to use that for my social media work. I'm going to use this C70 for my main stuff, my YouTube videos, and my client work. And I might even use the R8 for some client work for photos or some BTS, or if I'm just doing reels, it's a really good camera for that. So that is my decision on my FX3 versus my C70. I prefer the C70. It shoots raw internal 12-bit. I'm filming on it now. It's not that big of a file. I have a 256 gig card in this camera right now. It was not formatted. I have, I do some videography for churches and stuff like that. So I currently have 2 weeks worth of video and photos from the FX3 recording an XAVC HS, not all I, but the HS. I have 2 weeks worth of video content and photos on this card, and I still had like 89 minutes of record time in the Canon RAW light format. Absolutely amazing. Tons of detail, tons of depth. Love this camera. Love the fact that it works with EF lens. Absolutely wonderful. If you wanted to know what I'm recording on right now, it's the C70 with the 14mm 2.8, almost at 1.8, 2.8 EFL lens. And I have that Sennheiser MKE 600 recording audio. So for the future, this will probably be what this setup looks like. I might tweak some things in the background here, but as far as everything else goes, this will probably stay the same. So if you like the setup, hit the like button. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic week, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace. I'm out.